back in 76, and let's see, what was I doing in 76? I was working for Bell Canada, so yeah, anyway, I was married already and everything else, so anyway, it takes you back. I know that when I was first married, I rebuilt a motorcycle that we got off of that guy that was the Army brat, and one of my brother-in-law, I rebuilt it for him, you know, anyway. So now time marches on, doesn't wait for anybody, and now we're all older, so what can I say? My brother-in-law is not with us anymore. But anyway, that's the way it goes. So back to you, Al. VE3PRU from VE3BK.
Oh, it's all good there, Rick. VE3BK, VE3PRU. Yes, I know for sure time marches on for everyone. So yeah, there's no stopping and there's no going back for sure. If I did go back, I think it would change a few things. But oh well. Live and learn, so we're okay here. Anyway, Rick, I'll let you carry on. You have a great rest of the afternoon, a great evening, and hopefully, well, not just hopefully, the weather will change and you'll be able to spend some time outside as well. So that's all the side of things here. I'm not sure if I should turn it back to Colin, VE3FJN. Back to you.
Yeah, VE3PRU, VE3SJN. Well, thanks for checking into the net with me this afternoon, Al. Much appreciated. You've helped to get the time going, and I also will thank Asha, VE3CJZ, and also Rick, VE3BK, who's now going to be using the call sign Victor Alpha 3. Charlie, Whiskey Mike, the Canadian Warplane Museum. So many thanks for both of you to help get through the hour. Much appreciated. So send your greetings to all on frequency, and Rick will turn it over to you, VA3CWM and VE3SJN.
Yeah, VE3FJN, VA3CWM. Okay, thanks for the call. And anyway, I wonder if Al's still there. We'll make him the first one in our line if he's still there. So we're keeping alive for the Warplane Heritage Museum there. And I've got you already in the line there, Colin. So very good. But I wonder if Al's still there. Al, you're still there. Go ahead.
VA3CWM. Rick, I'm still here. I need to go outside, get some stuff done before the rain started the job earlier, and I thought I was only going to stop for a minute or two, and time dragged on a little bit. Anyway, it's all good. Anything else, Rick, before I let you go?
Hey, that's good, Al. Yeah, I got you in the log here, and of course I know I worked you before. So anyway, nothing else you could do what you have to do there, Al, and I will say 73 for now. You're in our live for the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum Radio Room, VA3CWM 73, Al.
VA3CWM and VE3PRU. Rick, you have a great afternoon, and thank you for picking me up, and 7-3 as well.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Al. Okay, we're clear with VE3PRU, and we're looking for any check-ins on the TransProvincial Net. This is Victor Alpha 3, Charlie Whiskey Mike.
Victor Alpha 3, Charlie Juliet Zulu.
Okay, Charlie Juliet Zulu, VA3, Charlie Juliet Zulu. And yeah, we are streaming on YouTube. I take a check, and let's see, I'm just putting you in the log here. Yeah, so I got you in there. Anyway, so anybody on YouTube that's listening along, I don't know if anybody's on there yet or not, but We always appreciate any check-ins that come from YouTube, and we will rate you down in the log here. So this is VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike, and we'll turn it back to Chuck. Go ahead there, Chuck.
Oh, very good, Rick. Victor Alpha 3, Charlie Juliet Zulu, Chuck here in Hamilton, Ontario. And we are streaming live on YouTube. So anybody that stops by can say hello or drop their call sign if they have one. And my YouTube channel is my call sign. Again, Victor Alpha 3, Charlie Juliet Zulu. And then click on the live button. You can follow us there. Anyhow, Rick, sounding great as always. And of course, it's started to rain over here. We've got some light rain, and temperatures are still pretty warm. It's 15 degrees Celsius right now, or around 57 Fahrenheit. So anyhow, Rick, I hope band conditions aren't that great, but we'll see how things go. Back to you.
Well, that's exactly why it's great having the YouTube stream, because even though conditions aren't that good, I mean, there was a check in there, Mike there checked in, and Colin couldn't hear him at all, and he called a couple of times, and I was on the other side of the room. I came back and to make sure he was on the HF radio, not on one of the other ones, and anyway, Colin didn't hear at all. So he told me Colin was 5 and 6, so there you go. So I don't know whether it was the same if Colin had a high noise level, he probably didn't hear him at all. But I was on Trueberry, so I heard him. Anyway, so anybody out there in YouTube land, we're streaming live, VA3CJZ. So anybody that's out there, just type in the chat box and Chuck will answer you. Okay, this is VA3CWM, and we're on the TP net. The net runs between 8 and 5 p.m. every day, Monday to Friday. And we usually have a controller on every hour, but not every hour do we have a controller. So if you want to check in and or even become a controller, just go on tpn7055.com, and you will see the list there. And if you want to sign up to be a controller, it's pretty easy. You can go in there and do that. Okay, this is VA3CWM looking for check-ins. Please go now. Well, there he is. And I definitely hear you, Mike. Okay, VA3 Mike Delta November, and how are you today there? Go ahead.
Give you a bean for the pot. Other than that, nothing too fancy going on today. The bands are not all that hot. At least I'm not hearing much, but still come every now and then and see if anybody's on the net here or the other one, OnTARS, but it probably won't be till 4 or 5 o'clock. Somebody comes in there. But anyways, we're checking the bands every now and then to see what we can hear. Other than that, it was kind of hard getting a hold of the call in the past couple of days, so we'll keep trying. Just the bands will smarten up one day or another, but anyways, thought we give you a try, see if we're still getting over to you. I think you're at the Canadian Warplane Museum. So other than that, Rick, thanks for being there, and we'll hand it back to you, VA3MDN.
Yeah, okay. Good hearing you in there, Mike. And just to verify that my log is correct, I got you in Muncie, southwest of London. Is that correct?
Roger, roger.
Okay, and then you were in my luck again. I punched it in already, and while you were talking there. So, yeah, we got late rain here right now at the moment, and it was 14 degrees Celsius there just before noon, and now Chuck tells me it's 15 degrees, and I haven't looked outside, but I know it's kind of muggy today. So, you know, that rain, I guess, makes it that way. And even in the house here, it's kind of muggy, you know. Yeah, and last week, no kidding, it was 75 degrees outside on my porch. And we don't know whether the sun was reflecting out the cement or something or what, but it was actually warmer outside than it was inside. So imagine that. Anyway, you know, summer's around the corner, so before we know it, we'll be complaining about the heat there, Mike. Over.
Yeah, that is so true, so true. Yep, can't be happy. Gotta be complaining about something. Too cold, too warm. I don't know. Yeah, it's just, I guess it's human nature. Complain about something you can't do nothing about, other than when you got the right temperature, you don't do nothing about it. But yeah. Anyways, Rick, thanks for doing what you do on that end. Other than that, yeah, we'll probably, I don't know who's on the next. Oh, Rick will be on the next hour. HVA. So throw Bean in his pot too if he hears us. But it has to be wait to see at 4 o'clock hour there. I ain't got nothing else on this end, so we'll see what else we can find around the VFO knob there, and work our way back up here towards 4 o'clock. I'm not sure if you're VE or VA3CJZ or not. So anyways, thanks for that. VA3MDN listening.
Yeah, okay, well, it's Victor Alpha 3 Charlie Whiskey Mike, and VE3CWM, that's the Deepen Bunker in Ottawa, and we've actually worked them guys too. So, you know, I forget whether we worked on 20 or where we worked them. I think we worked them on 82. I think they came in on the ONTARS there when we were doing ONTARS there for a while. So, yeah, that's probably where we worked them guys in that Deepen Bunker, and that's, geez, I forget what the name of the small area they're in, but, of course, they're in the middle of nowhere, and they're underground. So that was the Deepen Bunker, and if you go on QRZ and look up their page, they got tons of stuff there. You know, it was government sponsored, I guess. You know, so compared to the museum, you know, they had quite a setup with racks of equipment and everything else. Although we've got racks of equipment
mostly
too,
the old stuff, and we have VE3JUB. John is one of the guys that's very proficient at bringing the old warplane radios back to life. So we actually monitor the airport and you know, stuff like that with some of these radios. It makes it interesting for anybody that visits there. Okay, so anyway, thanks for being there again, and so we're clear with VA3 Mike Delta November, and this is Rick VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike. Looking for any more check-ins on the TP net. Please go now. Okay, we haven't heard Marty yet, and Marty's usually in there. I don't know if he's at the radio room or not. We actually don't have a radio in the radio room anymore. Our antennas, we had a leaky roof, and our antennas got removed because they were in the way. and we don't know if or when they're going to go back up. So they were talking about moving our station to a different spot. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Anyway, this is VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike for the TransProvincial Net. Anybody anywhere, if you can copy me, give me a contact. Okay, this is VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike, the Warplane Heritage Radio Room. It's a call sign of the Warplane Heritage Radio Room. I'm not actually in the radio room at the moment, and the other station that's usually on here is working remote. It works remote, so I'm at home right at the moment in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And VA3CWM is also located in Hamilton, Ontario at the airport, which is actually what used to be known as Mount Hope, and most people still call it that. So our airport's actually at Mount Hope, but it's called the Hamilton Civic Airport. Anyway, this is Victor Alpha 3 Charlie Whiskey Mike looking for your check-ins. Now, as brought up by Mike, VA3MDN, yeah, Rick, VE3 Hotel Victor Alpha will be on at 4 o'clock, and he's on at 4 till 5, and that'll be the end of the TP net for the day. So I did hear some digital in there, so if anybody's tuned us in, the digital, has an offset, and please be wary of that because there was somebody interfering with calling there before on CW, and they actually gave their ID in CW. But anyway, please be aware this frequency is in use for the TransProvincial Net in Canada here. So this is Victor Alpha 3 Charlie Whiskey Mike. We're looking for any contacts, anybody anywhere, if you can hear me, please go now. VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike. Okay, nothing heard. Let's see, VA3CJZ, are you still there? Can you give me some information there about your setup there, over?
Yeah, Rick, Victor Alpha 3, Charlie Juliet Zulu, Chuck here in Hamilton, streaming live on YouTube at the moment. Just type in VA3CJZ and click on the live button and you can follow along there. And we're listening today. The bands aren't that great, but we're here for the hour nonetheless, and we'll be following along. Rick, why don't you see if Marty is in the wings? Over.
Yeah, okay, I wanted to ask you something about your setup, but let's see if Marty's in there. I think Marty still maybe had some people over from Easter, but I'm not sure. That was Monday. Anybody anywhere? Marty, are you in there? VE3QEE, are you in there? He might be at home. In there, I would have heard him. So, for sure, and if he's on the remote, I definitely would hear him.
Yeah, and I don't see anything on the YouTube stream here, Rick. So you're asking me about my setup. I am transmitting on a Yaesu FTX1 Optima, 100 watts on battery power at the moment. I'm using a LifePo battery, and I'm straight battery power, 100 watts, going into a G5 RV, inverted V, about 35 feet above ground there, Rick. Over.
Okay, that's great. Well, you were saying about all the things that you could adjust on that radio. Now, everybody comments on your audio. Your audio sounds really good. It sounds just like you. And so I would say that you've got it set up pretty good. Now, how did you arrive at that setup? And did you go to different sources, or did you go by what people said, or did you monitor yourself? Because that's usually what I do. I monitor myself to see what it sounds like in my own ears. Of course, you can't hear yourself that good sometimes. So back to you.
Well, Rick, I tried a bunch of different things. I watched some YouTube videos, and then I followed along and made some changes in the equalizers, the parametric equalizer, all those things. And then I would ask people to tell me how it sounds, and then I could save it in memory. I've tried it with no mic equalizer on, no compression. I've tried it with, and again, I've watched more videos. And the last one I found was a German fella, and his settings are the ones that I'm using right now. And everybody seems pretty happy with the way it's set up at the moment. There, Rick. Over.
Well, Roger on that. Yeah, okay. Well, I know there's a lot of settings, and I've watched on the YouTube stream on Wednesday night when you have your picture of the radio front there, and I've seen you playing with some of the settings or whatever. At least I saw all these settings on the front, and they're all touchscreen, and I thought, boy, that's pretty handy, pretty handy. But of course, you got to be sighted to be able to see all of them. You know, no good for somebody like her. Anyway, yeah, some of the old radios, who was it was saying somebody was old school? Yeah, Mark V3RYI was saying that one of the fellas, IOW, V3IOW, Ron, was old school. He actually had a 7300, and he sold it because he didn't like all the options on it, and I thought it was 7300 is pretty simple, you know, really in comparison to some of the Aces, you know. At least that's my thoughts. And anyway, he bought an older ICOM that you can control from the front, and I've been there, so I know what he means. I've got a menu on this one here, and once I set it, I usually don't play with it, even though with the contest you can record the voice and all that good stuff, and just push button replay, you know, to call CQ. So that's what I do here. Sometimes when I'm contesting. Anyway, what are your thoughts on the OQP? Ontario CUSO Party is coming up the third weekend in April, and I think there may be a conflict with the Parks on the Air. I don't know for sure. I'm sure some guys will try and do both. And anyway, what are your thoughts on that? Over.
Well, Rick, from my understanding, that's on April 18th, and that's the same day that the Hamilton POTA operators are getting together at Valens Conservation Area to activate a park. And it's also Support Your Parks weekend, which means you make contact with one park and you can get an award for that. And if you activate a park, you get the award for that. So it's just it's a Support Your Parks weekend. It's not a contest, so I don't think it'll conflict with the Ontario CUSO party there. Rick, over.
VA3CJZ from VA3, Charlie Whiskey Mike. We're on the TP net. Anybody want to check in, please feel free. Anyway, I'm talking with Chuck right at the moment, and we were talking about Parks on the Air and the Ontario CUSA party. It's going to happen on the 18th and 19th of April. So yeah, I don't think it should interfere, and there's different things for different folks. Like Marty says, a different facet of ham radio for every ham radio operator. So I mean, different guys do different things, and there's collectors. I have tons of certificates here, and I even have some plaques as well from contesting. And I never got into that collecting countries and all that stuff. And I use EQSL, and EQSL was the first one on. And now there's another one. There's QSL World, and now there's another one. I forget what it was called. But anyway, they're getting way too many electronic QSLing. So anyway, I'll stick with the EQSL. That's where we started. We're gold members on there. Paid the money, and I'm not really into collecting countries and all that, although I do have awards on there. They have their own awards, I guess, whatever. And also there's awards on QRZ, and I know that somebody was talking about that the other day. Anyway, okay, we're talking here with Chuck, VA3CJZ, and this is VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike. Anybody wants to break in and make a contact with us on the TransProvincial Net, feel free. Yeah, nothing heard. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, Rick, very good, very good. I must say I am very excited to once the warmer weather stays with us, to use my new FTX1 outside. Of course, you remove the front plate of the FTX1 Optima, and it becomes a field radio. And so I've got a LifePo battery here. I'm going to go and take it out in the backyard and hook up to one of my antennas and do some DXing from there, or go on UHF, VHF, whichever. So really looking forward to doing that. I haven't really used the radio as a field radio yet, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yep, how things change, and yeah, I know. Back in the day, when we went mobile or portable, whatever, we'd take a radio and throw an antenna up in the tree, and use that radio with either a car battery or something like that, or we'd have generator power, and we'd be in a park. And sometimes when we did field day like that, some of the signals in that were much better you could get at home. Oh yeah, because your wire antenna was up in that tree, up higher than what you had at home. So anyway, things have changed, especially with the pack antennas that they use for POTA, and that they're ground mounted, and they're probably not quite as good as an antenna up in the tree, but of course they're adjustable to all different bands, and they work pretty good that way. Okay, so anybody listening to us on YouTube, and that'll be the VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike channel. Anybody listening to us, go into the chat box and chat with Chuck, and if you have a call sign, let us know. And that's for anybody in the whole world that might happen to get on there. The band conditions are not that good, so we are chatting here a bit. Anyway, so I'll turn it back to Chuck and see if he has any comment, and anybody else who wants to check in. If you you can hear us, please go now. We'll leave a space there for you to do that.
Yeah, Rick, things are pretty quiet over here. Before the net started there, I was checking out the bands, and even 20 meters was pretty quiet. Conditions are not the greatest at the moment, but hey, you know, it can turn on a dime. All of a sudden, conditions improve. And so, yeah, unfortunately, I can't really, well, I guess I could use the SDR here, but we don't have anybody checking in, so I don't need to. Yeah, uh, let's see who else is out there, Rick.
Okay, this is TransProvincial Net, Victor Alpha 3, Charlie Whiskey Mike. Anybody anywhere, please go now. Well, when you operate that radio out in the backyard, that will be fun. That will be good. And so I don't know what's better. I mean, technology is wonderful, and Barry, VE3ISX, he actually sits in his backyard and goes on his phone and operates his radio remotely with his telephone. So he actually, he's actually asked me what the audio sounded like when he was on the telephone, and it was good because it was coming through his station, and it sounded good. So anyway, that will be a bonus for you. And the only thing I can see about the Yaesu is I think only experienced operators should buy the Yaesu because there's so many menu options, and you've got to know what they mean. And I think you need a little bit of experience to do that. So that's my opinion anyway. Whereas once I went to ICOM, I stayed with the ICOM because they were easier to adjust your power and adjust your mic gain and CW speed and everything else for contesting, which I was involved in. So I don't think the ICOMs here quite as good as the Yaesu do. That's my opinion. But anyway, the ICOMs definitely do work well. So anybody anywhere, if you can hear us, please go now and give us contact for the TransProvincial Net.
Hey, Rick, we got to check in on YouTube here. We've got Wayne from Mississauga, I believe. Victor Alpha 3, Fox Mike Bravo. Hello, Wayne. Good afternoon. How are you? It's raining lightly here below the escarpment in Hamilton. What's the weather where you are? 15 degrees Celsius or around 55 Fahrenheit. So, anyways, Rick, Victor Alpha 3, Fox Mike Bravo. Over.
Okay, very good. Hello, Wayne. Victor Alpha 3, Mike, Fox Mike Bravo. Yeah, I'll get it right. Fox Mike Bravo. Wayne there, and good to hear you in there. Good to know that you're in there on YouTube. And band conditions aren't that good. The other night I actually heard somebody with 5 watts in Toronto. 5 watts, but I was listening in on the SDR, so that's probably why I heard him. Anyway, welcome on board there, Wayne, and have a chat there with Chuck on the YouTube channel. Okay, anybody else out there that want to check in via radio? Here, this is TransProvincial Net on 7100. Please go now. Let's see, is in use, and I hear some digital on there again. The frequency is in use, and the offset, you're transmitting right on top of us here. This is VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike.
VA3CJZ, Rick. I have to step away from the radio at the moment. I just got a delivery, and I don't want any porch pirates to grab it. So I'll be back. Victor Alpha 3, Charlie Juliet, Zulu. Carry on.
Yeah, go for it. Okay, this is VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike, and we're looking for check-ins. Anybody on YouTube, Chuck will be right back. And anybody listening, we're also streaming live on VA3 Charlie Juliet Zulu. Okay, this is VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike, and we're located in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, the west end of Lake Ontario. So anybody anywhere on the TransProvincial Net, please go now. Wow, pretty quiet today, and we haven't heard Marty. So I don't know what happened to Marty. I think maybe he has visitors still hanging around after Easter. So that could be where he's at. And I know that John V3QEE he is actually in the radio room working on radios. So John is very good at tube stuff, and he has brought back quite a few radios so that they are operational. You know, there were radios out of aircraft, warplanes of the 40s, so they work pretty good, and we actually have out in the radio room, we actually have a radio that was called a mobile, but it was fed with wires. It didn't work wireless. You had to have a wire, so they would park on a hill or something like that, or they would put the antenna on the hill and have the Jeep down with the radio in it and work mobile with a piece of wire. So that's how it worked back in the World War II, you know. So anyway, this is VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike for the TP-Net. Anybody, anywhere. We don't know how many listeners we have, and there could be quite a few on YouTube. I'll just relay a story from the Warplane Radio Room. One day we had this visitor come in, and one of our presenters was Marty, and Marty was I think he was nearly 80 by that time, and 80 years old. And this fella comes in and says, "Yeah, I know all about that trailing antenna, Sonny." He called Marty Sonny, and Marty, like I said, is 80 years old. And anyway, he said the trailing antenna, the pilot of the Lancaster kept telling him to bring it in because he had lost 3 of them previously on fences. They were trailing antenna that got put down through the floor of the Lancaster, and all it was like a piece of wire going down there. Trailing antenna, that's what it was called, and you know, we had remnants of it in the radio room to show people what was in use at that time. Anyway, anyway, there's lots of warplane radios in there out of aircraft, and there's even a picture of our friend in Australia. VK6BQQ is his call sign, and he's actually in a Lancaster, in a static Lancaster in Australia, in the Bull Creek Museum in Australia.
Okay, this is VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike looking for check-ins on the TransProvincial Net. Victor Alpha 3 Charlie Whiskey Mike.
Good afternoon from Timmins, Victor Echo 3 Echo Lima.
Okay, and VE3 X-ray Lima Golf, and you're in Timmins, and you're just coming in here, great, no problem at all there, go ahead.
Yeah, very good, thank you for that. You also on the label here.
Okay, Luke, yeah, I do have you in my logbooks here. So I'm just putting you back in there again. Okay, you're in there already. And, yeah, we've chatted before. I didn't check the signal. You know, I'm an old contester, and everybody's a 5'9" if you can hear them. You know, I know other hams complained about that, but anyway, yeah, so I hear you very good there, Luke, so no problem there. Go ahead.
All right, good to hear. Good to hear that my radio is still working good there. Just 100 watts here, and a 40-meter loop there, so it's working, and I'm happy with that. It's a smoggy day, I guess you could say here. A borderline storm there with some rain earlier today. And they were calling for some snow, so we'll see if that comes a little bit later there. But so far, it's above zero, so that means it's good there. Over.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, a weak foot on the foot switch here, Luke. Anyway, yeah, I just checked the needle while you were talking there. And, yeah, you're coming in 6 to 9. It's bouncing all over the place. But, you know, that's probably the propagation. And the fact that we're getting Timmins, I think, is pretty good there for sure. I mean, the band conditions have not been the best. Anyway, yeah, we run a net on Monday night at 8 o'clock for the Hamilton Amateur Radio Club. And lately, the last 2 weeks, it's been excellent. Just been excellent. The noise floor went way down here in Hamilton, and you know, we could hear people all over the place. So that was pretty good. So you never know what you're gonna get. Just like you know, it's just like that movie with what's the name of it? And it you know. Yeah, you get a pie and you put your finger in, you never know what you're going to pull up.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The net the Hamilton net you're talking about is on this frequency.
Yeah, well, I'm actually listening to you in Pennsylvania, and that's what made it's got a very quiet SDR. So I've heard even weak stations, and we had one on Monday when I did the net on 40 meters, and I was listening on there, and I heard the whiskey one. We were up in the American part of Maine, and I could hear the whiskey one, and I could hear whiskey something whiskey. At least I thought that's what he was saying. And then he checks in on YouTube. We are streaming live on YouTube too. VA3 Charlie Juliet Zulu is on YouTube. And anyway, he ended up checking in there, and then he sent me an email saying thanks for trying, because I got the whiskey one, but it was Echo Whiskey. Echo Whiskey, Whiskey 1 Echo Whiskey, and he said thanks for trying, you know. But then he was in Manchester, Connecticut, and then another fellow checked in from Manchester, Connecticut, and he had a He had a dipole, I think. And he came in good, no problem at all. But anyway, loop antenna. So tell me about your loop there. Luke, how big is your loop?
The one I'm using now is a full wave 40-meter loop, around 60 feet up. And I'm feeding it in the middle of one of the flat pipes. So, and then that triangle is pointed south there towards, I guess, in your general direction there, over.
Well, it's working then. It's working for you. And I think you're done talking there. Your signal's actually gone down a little bit. About a full wave 40-meter loop. Okay, well, listen to this. We had a contest site. We had a contest site out in the country. Very quiet. We could hear all kinds of stuff. And our first main antenna was a delta loop. A delta loop being a triangle shape. And we actually fed it from one of the poles, from one of the corners. So it doesn't really matter where you feed the loop from, I don't think. But it was a full-size 160, 250 feet between poles, and that was huge. Huge. Everybody said, loops don't work, they don't work. Oh, no, sky burner. But depends on the size of the loop. The bigger the loop, the more gain you get, and the lower the angle of radiation when you go higher in frequency. So we actually had one guy, one of the guys every Sunday morning, he was an Italian guy, and he liked to talk back to Italy. So he'd go on there on 10 meters, 16 wavelengths on 10 meters, and he would talk back to Italy, and they all told him, why don't you move out there, Renzo? Why don't you move out there? Your signal's much better. Anyway, that's our story about the loop there, over.
Hey, that's good there. I like them. Like I had an 80-meter full wave loop set up before this one, and was just amazed there on how that works. And I'm off grid there. I'm away from the city that they, so there's very little noises out here. So it adds to the performance. So far so good. It's 18 gauge electric fence wire, galvanized wire. I found an old hole there in the basement, and I said, hey, let's try this. And I could see that it works pretty good. Over.
Oh, Roger on that. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, hey, just so you know, we played with a lot of antennas, and if you had room, you probably don't, but most people don't. But if you had room for a double-size 40, in other words, an 80-meter loop, you put up an 80-meter loop, it'll actually give you a 50-ohm feed point. A 50-ohm feed point on a double-sized loop, and we've actually proved that. But we used to feed this thing. It was a way back out in the field, and we used to feed it with 75-ohm hard line, and it actually worked pretty good. On the harmonic frequencies, it was about 2 to 1 was usually about the worst. So I used to run my 735 on it and not even bother with the tuner. We used to use it on there and check into ONTARS and the TP net, and we did all kinds of stuff with that loop. So if the loop, I really like the loops, and I actually have a loop here. I am in a city lot in Hamilton, on a city lot, and I actually have a loop that goes around the perimeter of my roof. So it's actually, shaped like the roof down in the city, and I actually use that for different things. I used to use it
just for listening. But since then I've lost my 160 antenna, so I can't do 150 anymore, but I can do 80 on here. I do 80 on there with 100 watts, so that's what I'm doing right now, and your signal's actually going down, so I hope I'm not losing you or you're not losing me there. So back to you, Luke. V3XLG from VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike.
Yeah, very well, very good, very good. Yeah, your signal also was has started to go down there, but I had a good copy on everything there. Yeah, I like them very much. Like they could be a thing to set up a minor set up in some old growth pine tree, and there's a lot of hunters on there that make it like a pain in the ass to get knocked out or to even walk through. So once they're up down there, the effort. I do have another system that I use mostly for 80 meters, and I want to actually go down to measuring with a tape, ribbon tape, and be more accurate, but I guesstimate maybe 800 feet down in there, the water, and then set up between maybe 8 or 9 trees. So I still want to go out and measure it to be more precise. But boy, does that one ever work good for measuring or 80 meters.
Yeah, okay, Luke, I think you're done transmitting there. Getting pretty hard copy there now for me, and my ears aren't the best, I guess, anymore. But anyway, we knew you were in there, and I'm pretty sure I'm when you unfeed. So anyway, your full wave, that definitely does work. But if you had the space, I would try a double-sized one, and we did that at Field Day one year. I like 40 meters, and we did a double-sized loop at Field Day, and we had great results, but conditions were good then, too. Okay, so anyway, 73 there, Luke, and hopefully you're hearing me okay. You're in a quiet location, and I know loops are good for that. So VE3 X-ray Lima Golf 73 from VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike there. Go ahead, Luke, if you're copying still okay, go ahead.
Oh yeah, we're still copying you good there. You're actually climbing from a 3 to a 9 there, under also. So things are looking up. Must be antennas there. All right, thanks for including me, and thanks for chatting with me for a bit there. And I'll be listening along. 73 V3XLG.
Okay, 73, and I heard you good that time. So, yeah, I guess it's up and down a bit. Okay, we're clear with VE3 X-ray Lima Golf in Timmins, and yeah, we've chatted before there. My wife was born in Timmins. I think I told you that before. Anyway, yeah, and she's in the other room. Of course, I got headset on, so she's only hearing my side of the conversation there, and Rambo the dog is being quiet there. He's being good there. We were on Echolink the other day, and they heard Rambo in Australia. So, you know, worldwide, and we're being streamed, so we can be heard anywhere as well. Anyway, let's see if there's anybody else out there. We heard Luke and Timmins, so let's see if we can pick up anybody else. This is VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike for the TP-Net. Go now. Okay, CQ TransProvincial Net. This is Victor Alpha 3 Charlie Whiskey Mike. We're looking for check-ins on the TransProvincial Net. We're here till the top of the hour, in which case Rick is going to take over V3 Hotel Victor Alpha in Ottawa, and that's when we can really tell whether conditions are bad or not. Usually we have a direct line to Ottawa, no problem, and we can hear Rick usually pretty good, but when we have trouble hearing him, that's when conditions are really bad. So this is VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike looking for check-ins, and if you're on YouTube, go into the chat box and Chuck will chat with you, and especially if you have a call sign, let us know and we'll write you down on the log here. This is Victor Alpha 3 Charlie Whiskey Mike for the TP-Net. Okay, we haven't heard Marty this hour. I don't know what happened to him. I imagine he's still got visitors from Ottawa. His family, they were down for Easter, and on Monday they were still there, and they plan on being there for a little while. So I don't know if they're still there or not. I guess they are. I don't think he's in the radio room. I know John V3JUB, who works on the radios, he enjoys doing that. And he's really good at tube radios, so he brings quite a few of them back to life when they're not entertaining guests in the radio room. This is VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike looking for any check-ins on the TransProvincial Net. Okay, time for a report from VA3 Charlie Juliet Zulu. How are we doing on the YouTube stream there, Chuck?
Hey, good afternoon there, Rick. Victor Alpha 3 Charlie Juliet Zulu here with another check-in on YouTube. If you'd like to please copy. That is Victor Alpha 3 Romeo India Whiskey, VA3RIW, and I believe that's Brandon from Mattawa, Ontario. Over.
Right, Brandon from Mattawa, and we've had a few hands from Mattawa, so that is great there. So hello there, Brandon, VA3RIW. You were written in the log here, and thanks for letting us know who you are there from Mattawa. So thank you, Brandon, and okay, and back to Chuck there. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yes, I'm just chatting there with Brandon on the YouTube stream, and he likes my Yaesu FTX1, and of course some people are trying to get a brand new radio, but they're quite pricey, especially this one. It's not the most expensive that Yaesu has. They do have bigger radios, but this one here to be doubling as a field radio and as a home base. It's a really nice radio, so I really appreciate the compliments. I'll take the compliments anytime. I've been waiting such a long time to get a radio like this, Rick, and as a bonus, it's an SDR transceiver, and I really appreciate the waterfall. It's very helpful in finding signals. So anyways, we're close to the top of the hour there, Rick. We didn't have too many people checking in, but hey, you know, we made the hour go by. So anyhow, back to you, sir.
Okay, very good. And you know, this is the time to find out, is there more models of that radio? That radio will do 100 watts. Is that typical of any DX1 radio Yaesu, or is there other models that are actually low power there? Over.
Well, as far as I know, to have all the bells and whistles that this has, you know, GPS, Bluetooth, APRS, C4 FM, and it doubles as a field radio as well. I do know that ICOM has the 705, but I think this is a step up. Mind you, the 705 has a couple of features that this one doesn't, but hey, that's how they work it in between brands. You know, so as far as I know, I don't think there is, Rick. This is a unique, one of a kind, I think.
Okay, very good. And yeah, I think it was on sale at the place you bought it at. If I'm not mistaken, it was actually a little cheaper than Radio World. But Radio World has the 7300 on sale right at the moment, but it's still over $2,000, I think. So anyway, I was looking at that, saying, oh yeah, maybe I should buy one. No, I'll just stick with what I got. I got enough HF radios. I should actually resell one or two, and you know, even though you know the usage I got, I guess you can't really put a price tag on that. So anyway, okay, we're at the top of the hour. Thanks for the input there, Chuck, and that radio. Yeah, kudos on that radio. It's a good radio, and I can see very useful too. You know, it'd be a good radio for anybody at home, I would think. And you know, from what I've seen, the picture of it, and I've looked the radio up too as well. And yeah, it looks like a great radio. Anyway, we're at the top of the hour. We're going over a little bit. I know Rick was a little bit late last time. I actually listened in and checked in with him a little bit later, and he was busy. He had something he couldn't get out of, and that's why. So anyway, let's see if Rick is in there. VA3 Hotel Victor Alpha, are you on board?
But you're definitely getting into to Vermont there. Go ahead.
Oh, that's exactly what I got you at. I am listening in the same place as you are, and the same deal. I tried you direct, and I couldn't hear a thing. So the bands are pretty bad. Hey, but I got to tell you a story there, Rick. You know, I run a net on 40 meters on Monday night, and we had no, wait, that's not where I heard him. Sorry. Randy's net on 80 meters last night. I actually was listening on the SDR because some of them guys up north I can't hear unless I listen on the SDR. And lo and behold, I heard a guy in Toronto with 5 watts. And normally I can't even hear Toronto. So on the SDR, he actually came in very low, though, very low, but 5 watts. So that was fantastic. Anyway, thank God for SDRs, eh? You know, it makes it very useful because we usually have a high noise level here in this, right in the city of Hamilton. That's where I am. And so we get lots of noise there, Rick. Anyway, you take care and have a good hour and be safe. This is VA3 Charlie Whiskey Mike, and we're turning over to V3 Hotel Victor Alpha. Go ahead, Rick.
All right, you take care.